Zon and Let Me, 8:12 here on the Morning Den. It is Wellness Wednesday. I'm feeling well, and I'll feel even weller. Oh, wow, that was bad English. But that's okay. We move on, and we introduce Scott Campsall and Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Are you in the background?
I'm right here. How are you, Dan?
Are you going to stay on the phone with us, or you're just in the background?
No, I'm on the phone. I'm actually closer to the phone than Scott is.
Oh, okay. Well, you just got a loud voice.
Now,
He's a broadcasting voice.
Now she is. No, now she is. Now she is.
I'm just going to go to another room and conference call.
Okay, no, we're good. Jennifer Neveu is joining us as well. Now, Jennifer, are you still doing your classes via video?
I'm doing a lot of stuff in terms of classes. So I'm still teaching my voice and my piano students.
Yep.
So I have the majority of my music studio still online, and then I have all of my fitness classes and my Little Dragons and karate class online too. Yeah.
Is one easier than the other?
They're just different. The one-to-one stuff is just a little easier for energy on my part because I don't need to be quite as high energy. And then the little ones are great because, like my Little Dragons, they're great because they give you so much energy back. And then the fitness classes, well, that's just that's a normal. I feel like I'm just on stage and doing a show for that stuff. So
right. And
yeah.
How are things going for you, Scott? I know at the beginning a couple of hiccups as far as trying to get everybody involved. Has that improved?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, one thing that sort of came up the last couple of weeks was even that we had people that were teaching classes or assisting with classes, and so we started getting feedback that they were starting to get bored. So I basically sort of farmed out classes to them. So I just, orange belt level is going to go with this person, like blue belts go with this person, so they're all on Zoom now, and they're all teaching from their homes too.
Wow. So, and you guys are using a Zoom format, so you see several faces then.
yeah. So for example, on Saturday morning we had I think 39 in our Saturday morning karate class. So it's a massive version of the Brady Bunch we got going on there.
Wow. Who's Marcia in the middle?
Probably me. That's a good-looking one, right?
There you go.
Jonathan.
Not Jonathan Gladstone, is it?
Well, it might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, we're not revealing names, but okay, to protect the innocent. And that you want to have more people join. So,
yeah.
I could say that because I know them. But how are things? So that's kind of the business side of things. But you guys have been in isolation for a while now. How are things going with the family side of things?
Kind of here and there. So we have a funny dynamic in our family, and well, for me, in that I have two grown daughters who live away. One is in Haliburton, one's in Peterborough. So I won't see them. I haven't seen them for a couple of months, and I likely still won't see them for a couple of months. So that's challenging. That's heart wrenching. But we talk a lot, and so I get to still communicate with them. And we have two kids still who are at home, and they're here and they're doing their thing, and so that's a challenge just in trying to be employed full time and being parents and trying to homeschool, and some things working and some things aren't. But
well, it's interesting too in talking to some couples that when something may go amiss or may blow up a little bit, and they're wondering, is this because we're all in isolation, or is this something that would have happened just under different circumstances before COVID?
I think we had told you this before, I'm not sure, but when we first came back from our trip and we were in quarantine, before the stress really got bad, Scott and I had a very serious conversation because I said, I read an article that divorce rates skyrocket after things like this. And he said, I think we need to have a 1-year divorce rule. And I said, what are you talking about? And he was serious. And he said, essentially, if you and I look at each other and say, we're done, I'm done, can't take it anymore, then we need to wait 1 year from that date where we're both done, in which we will reevaluate.
Wow.
And it's sort of like the COVID prenup we've got going on here, where it's like we know that we love and we value and we care for each other very much, but boy, does the stress take you out at the knees sometimes.
We've got enough rooms around here for a year. We can put up with each other.
Well, now, do you find that, if it does get stressful that way, that you do rely on the physical part of what you guys do for a living, and that is, getting people moving and exercising.
We always have. The endorphins that are generated from activity are really, I mean, that's always been a thing for me and Scott. And, we're not even working out to a fraction of the level that we're used to. So we're trying to find other ways to do it. We've got a great big tractor tire in the backyard we can flip. We go over to the track and run over there. And, but we're used to lifting pretty heavy weights and doing stuff and having our own structure and lifestyle of physical activity, and that's not there. So what we are trying to do is just trying to keep ourselves active by keeping all of our students active too.
Now, obviously, and you kind of touched on it briefly, that students are learning online right now, and students will be graduating this year. Scott, I've noticed on social media that you've got a number of students who have graduated. Does anything change as far as their graduations and specifications and qualifications because now things are being done online?
Yeah, for us it was, at first I wasn't going to do it because I thought, this is going to really water down the product, and I don't want to promote people, and it went, like, a lot of our activities involve partners, and a lot of students are home alone, not necessarily they don't have their families with them, but they don't have somebody that they can train with or work with. And so there were certain areas of curriculum where I just said, okay, you can't demonstrate that. Then, and that was in the first couple of weeks. We thought we were going to go back, obviously, so we were only doing 20-minute check-in sessions. And then when we remolded everything, it was actually around the same time the school board had decided that they were going to start doing online learning. So it was pretty good timing. That's when I said, okay, we're going to try to offer as close to the same product as we had before. We just have to realize that everybody's home isolating, and we have to revamp it and change it. So what I did then was implemented an area where they now have to explain anything that they would have done to a partner. So it actually, I think now it makes the test harder because now they don't just demonstrate, they have to teach it, and they have to teach me. So I know basically, and I'm pretty picky with how they explain it because I know we are going to get out of self-isolation, and I'm going to be accountable to them. So if they don't know their stuff, then we're not just handing out certificates and belts because of the fact that, you know what, we really love you and you're working really hard. No, it's you've got to have some kind of ability and at least understand that. So, and what we're doing is we're offering certificates. We call them cyber certificates. So they will have to do something when they get back in, and they're going to have to be able to show that they actually can do the stuff. But I've had students that are working really hard, and I'll ask them a question, and if they don't have it, then nope, you wait to the next class. So we're not actually, we used to do an actual grading day. We don't do that now. Now I say every class you should be working just as hard as if you were grading, and then we just evaluate them in a session.
Well, let me throw this out to both of you. I'll start out with you, Scott. As far as teaching students, some students are tactile, some learn, verbally. They just can take the instructions. Have you found any stumbling blocks as far as that is concerned in dealing with students?
Yeah, but this isn't going to be that long an interview. So yeah, everybody's different. So like what you said, some are tactile, some aren't. So we got little guys, so you try to explain what a right and a left is, and some of them just don't know it. They don't have their rights and lefts yet. So actually, I started implementing activities like that so they can start learning what side of my body they need to look at to consider it to be the right side and the left side. So we start doing drills where I'm holding up pads next to me and saying, okay, you got to kick this side, and we start trying to see how we can start teaching them how to learn off a two-dimensional image. I was pretty fortunate. My first karate instructor, he basically forced me to learn off a video and just would say, okay, this is a kata, I want you to go learn it. And he would point me in the right direction. He was older than I was, obviously, so he was learning off of books. So where, some of us used to complain, we got to learn off a video. And it's yeah, well, it could be worse, So I'm actually having to teach these guys now how to do what I got forced to learn as well. And so even something like that, an adult student a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying something about how I identify what the left side of a person's body is or an instructor's body on a video. And I said, I just look for their crest because we all have logos on our left chest. So I'll look at that, and he was so thankful. It was almost like I'd done this groundbreaking tip for him, and so little things like that, they definitely have an effect on how your class is going to go.
Jennifer, how about you for the music classes? I would think that the musical brain is probably wired a little differently anyway.
Absolutely. And so I teach both piano and voice. My piano lessons are actually going remarkably well, I think. And a lot of my students are quite little. And for them to maintain the focus and the discipline and attention that they're giving to me is, I'm just so proud of these kids. So, and I have a couple of students who have figured out the technology enough where they have one camera on their face where they can see me and talk to me, and then another one that's set up so I can see their hands and see the keyboard. And so that's really helpful because for me, then I have the visual of what they're doing well and what what they need correction on. But in terms of voice lessons, that's a little tricky because I play piano. I accompany all my students. And because of the delay online, I can't do that anymore. So they can't sing with me or sing when I sing or sing when I play piano because it just doesn't work for timing. And I have several students who learn very empathetically. And what I mean by that is that singers respond to the human voice. And we learn by hearing somebody else sing often. So for them to hear it just on the piano and then have to repeat it back to me is a steep learning curve for a whole lot of them. Also, with voice, I don't have the physical manipulation anymore in terms of being able to adjust somebody's posture or, assess their full demeanor or anything like that. And the acoustics and the Wi-Fi broadband get in the way too. So sometimes I'll just come out of a lesson, frustrated because the whole thing has been glitching. But, you just do the best that you can, and so does the student. And we know that this is temporary. This isn't going to be forever. And when I get back into the studio, then hopefully we can pick up where we left off.
So we've talked about the technology. Back to the family, and other than a one-year moratorium on leaving each other, what things, we could take the new technology and some of those things ahead as we move forward. Is there anything, as far as a partnership or as a family that you think you may be able to move forward with?
I think actually it was interesting because you and I were talking about, texting what we could talk about today, and I was thinking that when I went through my cancer stuff, one of the things they kept on telling me was I had to drink more water when I was going through my chemo, and they said the water would help flush out the medication, and so for some reason I got in a habit of first thing in the morning I drink water. And then it was later that I started reading, that's a really good thing. You should drink more water. And so now it's just an automatic habit for me. I'm not on chemo anymore, but I'm still first thing in the morning, drinking water, or if I'm taking the dog out for a walk, I got a water bottle. So this is helpful stuff. This is a good behavior. Obviously not on chemo anymore, and there's a lot of things that I don't have to do. And so I think if we can figure out how to marriage, the good stuff that came out of this with what we considered before all this happened to be normal life, I think that's going to be helpful in the long run. We're already talking about doing classes online when we go back, and being able to offer that service where we didn't have that before. But I think there are a lot of benefits to doing this.
How about for you, Jennifer?
Well, I think more specifically to the family element of time, we're all, before all of this happened, I was always frustrated when, my family around me is on their screens, and I'm just as guilty of it as well. We've all often had a no screen at the table kind of rule for meals and things like that. But just out of the situation, we're all glued to our screens now, and that's, you've lightened those restrictions. I'm looking forward to having time where we're all off our screens again, where, we're just not slaves to our phones and our computers and things like that. And, I actually have times now where I'll take out the dog or I'll do whatever it is, and I just purposely leave my phone at home. I went for a run yesterday, and the whole thing got interrupted by people calling and texting and meeting things, and I thought, oh, what a silly idea. I should have just left the phone at home. So I'm looking forward to some screenless family.
Well, I'm looking forward to having you guys back in the studio again at some point soon.
Us too. Yeah, we missed you, Dan.
Yeah, well, it's kind of fun, and there are little nuances and people laughing and, they don't see, but that are reflective on the air. So it is nice.
We that you've come up a couple of times. Like we talk about what we're teaching, and we can actually see people, and we're saying, boy, there's hardly it's hard for us because we don't get the feedback.
Right.
Like our level of respect for you went up dramatically over these past couple of weeks. In all seriousness, because as a performer, I depend, or as a teacher, we depend on the immediate feedback and the energy that our students or our audience give back to us, and that's gone. So that's where we're finding our level of exhaustion right now. And so we started thinking about you and recognizing how, the fact that you wonder if anybody's even listening. So Dan, we're listening. Just wanted to let you know that. And that we really admire and respect you and are appreciative for everything, not only that you're doing for us, but for our community.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And you know how I know that you're listening is because as soon as I screw up, Scott texts me.
Welcome to my life. That's welcome to my life. As soon as I screw up, Scott texts me.
All of a sudden, I'll be good. Ding! I didn't say that.
Make it through the day, Dan?
Oh, yeah. I didn't say that. What do you mean I said that?
You had a conversation about emojis. They sent you a bunch of smiley faces. That wasn't a screw up.
Oh, I know that. But I do try to stay sharp because I know you guys are listening. So, listen. Don't use the moratorium. It's just.
No.
No. We'll split earlier than that. Believe me.
Oh, okay.
No.
I may have just caused something here. So.
No, not at all. We're pretty grateful that we have each other and we're getting along great, and we're very appreciative of the fact that we work so well as a team.
Well, we can't wait to the dojo's back open again, and again we can see everybody in person. Guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you again next Wednesday, Scott.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dan.
Have a good day.
Take care. You too. Bye-bye.